Hey folks, welcome to the channel and welcome to another episode here at Gideon's Tactical. Today we're going to be taking a look at a compact folding saw. Now, over the course of the channel, we've reviewed two that have really connected with me well. One produces a little bit more, in my opinion. That's the BLADEHQ Laplander. That thing is awesome. It's around $25, made in Sweden, and just is fantastic. The one that still has a little bit of validity, but I just don't quite like as much as the BLADEHQ, is the Corona. Now that has many different sizes. It's more for green material. If the tree is green, it seems to do a little bit better because of the teeth. But that also has a place in systems when it comes to folding saws. But today I want to introduce you to the saw that really outperforms them all. I want to introduce you today to the Silky Saw Gomboy 210. Now, to be honest, I can't believe it's taken me this long to get to this point, because this is, by most accounts, the better of the folding saw market. When you're looking at Silky saws, there's a whole litany of sizes and dimensions and types. And I gotta tell you, it was definitely worth the wait. So today, we're kind of do a battle of the saws. I will be running in the BLADEHQ and the Corona, just kind of give some size comparison, just kind of discuss some of that today. But really talking you through the Gomboy 210, what it has to offer, and why I think it's the best out of those compact folding saws. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into this battle of the saws where the Gomboy is king. Now, the maximum footprint of the saw is 9.5 inches long when it's closed up, and its maximum thickness is 0.75 inches on the thickness. The overall length is 17.5 inches, and then from the hinge or joint to the tip is 8.5 inches on the actual blade. Now, the saw weight itself, just as you see it right here, is going to be 8.1 ounces, which is great, very compact and very lightweight overall for the punch and firepower of woods processing that you're getting with the saw. Now, let's talk about the saw blade itself. How does this blade really perform?
Wow, that is awesome. Well, folks, buddy, you're in YouTube vision. That wood's wet now.
Well, the under half of it is wet.
Dude, that's so nice.
Cuts like a, I don't know, buzzsaw though. Dave Sneed, if you're watching, buddy, you recommended us the Silky saw, and you were not wrong.
We don't know why it took us so long to see the light, my brother.
Nice.
Woo! Nice.
Well, I hope that really speaks to it there. You know, we've been using folding saws here since before the channel even started, and I got to tell you, this is definitely the most impressive. I think they put everything together really well. Now, this is a Japanese-made saw, you know, so I mean, it's like a samurai sort of saws, if you will. It is made out of SK4 high-carbon steel, but I haven't seen any rusting on it, and as you saw in many of the footage, you know, we're in snowy conditions, and there hasn't been any sort of picking up of a rust or anything like that. I think a lot of it has to do with its performance with the teeth. These are medium-sized teeth, so they're designed kind of for soft to medium wood. We don't have a lot of hardwoods in the Rockies where I live. There are different blades that you can purchase and easily attach and, you know, take off and take on. Again, this being the medium is kind of the middle of the road. They have a really large teeth that's for softer wood or even green wood, and then they have short teeth blades that you can also pick up, and those are for the hardwood. But with 8.5 teeth per inch on this 8-inch blade, this really makes it capable and just really grabs the wood in a proper way and just tears right through it. The handle is another portion that for me with my large size hands I really like. The fact that they've given you a really good rubber overmold. They've kind of given this little bit of a cut in, even like a hook, almost like kind of like a knife if you've been watching the channel and you know those larger chopping knives. We like a little bit of a hook, large generous lanyard hole, and that just really allows you to get a real good grip here even with large leather gloves on and you know do the sawing motion that you need to. Now there's a pretty big space between your hand and the actual blade there that is steel, so just kind of keep that in consideration. If you find yourself maybe with other saws choking up real close and you want to do that, it's not quite as comfortable as say other saws on the market out there, but with my large size hands I have perfect grip and just is very comfortable, and I can hold it for an extended period of time without it cramping or wanting to readjust my hand. So I really appreciate that aspect of the saw as well. The locking mechanism as well is really well designed. It's just kind of a spring-loaded lock-back design, similar to, you know, think of almost like a knife, if you will. Clicks open, really secure, nice again joint there with that flat head that you can either replace the blades or tighten up or loosen the blade, but zero wobble. We've had this for a while now and haven't seen any complaints, and then when you're ready to close it up, you just kick that off, takes it out of those teeth right there, and you close it up. So now let's discuss the price that this Gomboy usually goes for. And in fact, I'm going to roll in some footage of my brother. I handed it to him as the very first time he was using it. We were out on a shooting expedition. We needed to cut down some wood for a fire we were going to do. So I handed him the saw. I said, here, take this for a spin, and you'll see his reaction as well as we'll feed right into the price point on the saw.
How much is this thing?
30 bucks. Now, this is going to be running you about $30. That's what I paid for it on Amazon, $30, $35. We'll have links in the description below if you are interested in this Silky saw. We'll have links over to Amazon. That's a great way to help support the channel if you are interested in this saw. But for $30, you're looking at about $5 to $10 more than the other folding saws we've been looking at today. And is it worth that extra $10 from having used it and having owned those other two saws for quite a while? I think so. I mean, I really see not only just in the comfortability of the hand, but also the quickness that it's going through the wood. It's worth that extra $10 if you are using your saws a lot, and that's a really, you know, useful tool for you, you know, out there on the camping trips or backpacking trips. I think that it's worth the extra $10 to upgrade to this Silky saw. Started to rain on us, so I'll bring this last shot indoors for us for the Battle of the Blades portion. Now that we've really talked about the Gomboy, hopefully you've seen what it can do, and just kind of run in the two other very well-known folding saws, the BLADEHQ Laplander and then the Corona 7-inch pruning saw. The BLADEHQ has really been my go-to saw since before the channel began. Last year we took this on a backpacking trip, the Corona, tested it out, and it's okay. It runs about, it's the cheapest at about 18 to 20 bucks. The BLADEHQ is about 20 to 22, and then the Gomboy is about 30. So they go up in price, but I believe they also go up in performance. Mainly, particularly with this Corona here, you can just see on the teeth, the Corona has the most aggressive, so that's going to be good for those of you who have really soft wood and live in an environment where the wood is really soft, or you're working with a lot of green wood and, you know, you're cutting down a lot of greenery, that not dead wood, then this will probably perform actually the best out of all three of these. But for me, where I live, it's all medium to soft wood and it's all dead. It just doesn't seem to perform quite like the other two. The other thing that I'll just kind of touch on here, you know, the handles, all have good handles. There's not one that I would say is better than the other. I gravitate more towards a natural handle grip of these two up here. This is more of a pistol grip. It's still very comfortable. It gets the job done. It's just not quite my style, and it only really allows you to cut in one grip. Whereas this, you can kind of back up, you can choke up, you can kind of move around a little bit if you need to, depending on the control that you need in a saw. I would say this Corona is purely a pruning saw, best for just the average work that you need to do with live greenery that you're trying to trim either around your house, or if you just live, you know, in the jungle or, you know, the Appalachians or something where it's just really green and lush, the Northwest maybe, and there's almost no dead plants around, this may be the best. But the other thing with these handles, you know, it just feels a little bit more comfortable, these two here. I would say that the Bahco, and I'm not going to be getting rid of my Bahco, I'm not saying, you know, like, oh, ditch your Bahcos and go for the Gomboy. You need to decide. Now, for me, the Gomboy is king, as I said. It performs the fastest, has an extra inch of cutting edge, and for me, what I use a saw for is just purely processing wood, and that's where it really excels at. The Bahco is actually really good for those of you who are true bushcrafters who maybe use your saw to help you out with really fine cuts, making some notches if you're doing some sort of triggers and traps, or, you know, making different things around a campsite. I don't do a lot of that, so the Bahco is still fantastic, and for the price points, the lightest weight, there's a lot of things going for it. But for me, I just use them to crank through some logs so I can build a fire, or if I had to build a, you know, a primitive shelter to last me a night or two till I could get rescued or get out of the location situation I was in. In that scenario, the Bahco is, the Gomboy Silky saw is king. So that's where you really need to decide your scenarios, the greenery, dead, alive, all that type of stuff, and what you're going to be using your saw for. Really detailed bushcraft stuff, the Bahco is probably the best. Just cranking through dead material, then it may just be the Gomboy, if it's alive, the Corona. So I hope all that portion of this discussion just helps you out when you are purchasing a saw and putting a saw into a system. Well, there we have it, folks. I hope that this video has just kind of shown you what the Gomboy has to offer. Now, those other two saws, there's nothing wrong with them, but there is a significant difference that we've seen in the performance of this saw in comparison to the other two. So, not that if you're rocking either of those other saws, are they going to compete? Absolutely, but this one is going to go faster and just be more comfortable and just feel like a better quality product that's going to get the job done faster for you. So, ultimately, I hope that this video has helped you out when you're building your saw systems and how a folding saw maybe fits into one of your outdoor systems. As always, check us out on all the relevant social media. Please subscribe, comment, like, share this video. Love to hear your guys' thoughts on folding saws in general and the 210 Gomboy. And as always, remember, stay equipped, stay prepared, and we'll see you out there.